If you've ever committed to something that didn't feel right, that you didn't like anymore, that you recognized wasn't working, but you couldn't give it up, this episode is for you. Okay, today we're talking about the reminder that it's okay to change your mind. And I'm going to give you permission to change your mind, to try something new, to give up on the thing that you've committed to and spent so much time on that you just can't let go. Hello, and welcome to Mindset Matters with Victoria Williamson. My intention with this podcast is that you leave each conversation feeling more positive, more present, and more connected to yourself. I will share ideas and practices to support your mindset and help you get clear on what you want out of life so that you can live each day with purpose. Let's get to today's episode. I want to start by talking about sunk cost fallacy. Okay, this is the phenomenon, our tendency to follow through with something that we've already invested heavily in. Be it time, be it money, be it effort, be it emotional energy, even when giving up is clearly a better idea. Okay, I think this is so interesting. You guys know I love psychology, studied psychology in university. Sunk cost fallacy, okay? We have a tendency as humans to not want to give up on the things that we've invested in. Again, it could be you've invested money, it could be time, it could be a relationship. You've invested so much emotional energy into this relationship and you just want it to work. Even though you know it's not working, you know you don't want it anymore. We can't let go of the things because we've invested so much time. So this episode is all about the reminder that it's okay to change your mind. I just want to sit with that for a minute and repeat this to yourself. It's okay to change my mind. Say it. Literally say it with me. It is okay to change my mind. So before we go any further, if you enjoy these types of conversations, don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening so you don't miss another episode. I think sometimes we have this idea that changing our mind means that we're being flaky or that we're just giving up, we're admitting failure. And those are really hard things to accept. It's hard to fail at things. It can be really hard to accept that things aren't working and to actually even admit it. So I want to reframe that to start, that changing your mind could just be responding to new information, whether it be you learn something new about someone or you're seeing patterns in someone to recognize that a friendship or relationship isn't for you. It could be responding to new information, within yourself, recognizing like, wait, I actually am not enjoying myself, or I don't like this, or this thing that I thought I wanted to do isn't actually igniting something within me, right? And I think that's okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to switch career paths, even if you've invested years into your education or years into working. If you are not happy at your core, it's okay to switch. It's okay to try something new. It's okay again to recognize that a relationship is not for you or friendships aren't working. I've had so many friendships come into my life and end. It's friendships that I thought would be in my life forever, friendships that I recognized just weren't working or weren't healthy. And it's actually quite liberating to just accept, you know what, I can move on from this and it might hurt, but this is ultimately better for me. And I can find the people that are aligned with me and that make me feel, that I have permission to be my true full self, right? So that's a really hard one. Letting go of people can be so hard. I also want to just let you know it's okay to try something and fail. If you try a new hobby or, you go for a new type of job and you don't like it, and maybe it makes you realize that you want to go back to your old career path and that is actually for you, but just in a different way. Like that can also exist. It's okay to try something and realize you don't like it. It's okay to need a break. Personal example here. I needed a break from this podcast. I didn't have anything else to say at that time. I was burnt out. I was treating it as like something I needed to do so consistently. And if I couldn't do it consistently, it's not worth doing at all. And that wasn't working because I'm working full time. I have lots of other things going on in my life. So again, it came time to reconnect with myself and decide, yes, the podcast is important to me and I want to get back to it. So I did a lot of reflection on what that could look like and how can I do it sustainably and what does that mean to me, right? So I took a break and I'm so glad I did because now I feel so heart-centered and so aligned with myself and what I want the message of this podcast to be, that it's really allowed this new wave of like creativity to flow over me. And I have so many ideas of what to talk about. So sometimes we just need to slow down and take a break and allow ourselves to gain new perspectives on something. You know, I think that in our kind of hustle culture, capitalist Western world, we feel like we always need to like push through and keep going. And, you know, again, it goes back to sunk cost fallacy of like not wanting to give up on the thing because we've already invested so much time, money, emotional energy, etc. into it. But when we're so like deep into that, sometimes you get this tunnel vision where it's like you actually can't even see what's happening like from other perspectives or even give yourself time to have a new perspective, right? And this, I want to think of like relationships. We've probably all had someone in our life who was in a toxic relationship at some point, and you think to yourself like, how could that person stay in that relationship? And it's just so obvious to you as an outsider that it just is so toxic and so unhealthy. But the person who's in that situation, and again, it's like you can't really judge it until it's you, because we don't know how we would actually respond. And there's so much we could go into that, and we're not going to with this episode. But the point I'm trying to make is when you're in it, you can't see it from a different lens. Even if we feel resistance, even if you're like, this is not working, I need to just work harder, push harder, and do more, like, that's not always the answer. And I actually think taking a break and just slowing down is truly the best way to reconnect with what it is you actually want and allow the feelings to surface of, do I actually want this? Is this thing actually important to me, or do I just feel like I can't let it go because of all of the X that I invested so far? So slow down, be present. I think we're so focused on getting to the destination that we forget that life is the journey. And I've said this before, I'm sure so many other people have told you this, but life is truly not about getting where you want to go. It's about enjoying where you are and the process. And if you're not enjoying the process, if you hate the process, if you feel so negative about the things you have to do every day, you're not in the right place. You're not doing the right things. Life should not feel like so heavy all of the time. You shouldn't feel like you're in so much resistance with what you're doing. And what's interesting is you can actually become like physically ill when you're so out of alignment with what you want. And Martha Beck talks about this in her book, The Way of Integrity, of when we are so disconnected to our truth and to what we want and to like what is actually good for us, we can become physically ill and it can affect our entire life. Okay, hi guys, this is Future Vic. I'm currently editing. I've got my editing cap on, and I just wanted to jump in because I feel like this is a little bit incomplete. And so I'm jumping in here to say something. When I'm referring to life should not feel so heavy all the time, you shouldn't feel so negative and resistant to the things you have to do every day, I just want to specify that I'm talking about the people who have kind of started this mindset journey. if you are someone who is aware of how mindset can improve your life, if you are someone who generally tries to have a positive mindset, to not complain about things, you know, you want to enjoy your life, like this is more for you. But I just want to pause on that because I think wherever we go, we'll always find people who are just very, very negative, and they're not even at this step of like resistance or finding what is right for them or realigning. Like they'll just complain wherever they are. So when I say about like the job, like you shouldn't be so resistant in your job. It's like, well, there's people who will just show up no matter what job they're doing and be like, this sucks, everything sucks, traffic sucks, this sucks. Like, so I'm not talking about the people who complain every day about everything because those people exist. There are people who are just very negative. So when I say that you shouldn't feel resistant to things, it's for the people who kind of get it. You know, you're maybe starting to awaken to like a higher consciousness, as Eckhart Tolle would say, or you're starting to recognize that like truly being present means not resisting life. Okay, so if you understand that concept, that life is going to be challenging, but you get to decide how you respond to challenges, then this is for you. This message of if you're trying to do that, you're trying to be present, you're trying to, you know, not be in resistant to life, but you still feel that pit in your stomach. You still feel like things are off. That is what I mean when I talk about misalignment and not feeling it. And I think later in the episode, I'm going to talk about how to kind of be more in tune with your body. But I just wanted to make a note on that. The other thing I don't want to feel is too, like I'm jumping at you with, is like the thing about, you know, relationships or friendships. Yes, I've had friendships that have come and gone in my life. I've also had friendships that have had rocky periods. And I don't think that like giving up on a relationship at the first sign of trouble is like the only way to exist. So I just want to clarify that. I'm not saying jump ship, start again, change your whole life. Oh, jump ship, not working. Oh, that person said one thing that was mean to you. Oh, you got into one fight, leave. That's not what I'm saying, okay? And I just want to make that clear because I think it's important to understand that deep within you, I think that we all, and I think I'm going to say this later, but if you learn to be aligned with yourself and in tune with yourself and your body, you know when things are right for you or wrong for you. You know if you're clinging to something versus you're working through something, right? In a relationship, you're going to work through things with your partner. I'm not saying that everything is worth giving up on if it's not perfect, okay? And I just want to clarify that because I think that that's kind of how this is coming across, and that's not what I mean. So, yeah, let's get back to it. I want to give you permission to say, yes, it's okay to change my mind. It's okay to not want the thing anymore. But what do we do if we think that that might be the case? Because I think sometimes people also just give up too early. We can look at the other side, and sometimes people say, okay, I want to be more healthy this year, but then they give up on the gym so fast. Or, you know, I want to, you know, work on my relationships this year, but then they don't reach out to any of their friends and they don't put an effort into seeing people. So the opposite can be true, where we give up on things before we even start. But I guess I'm going back to these are things where like you've committed something, you've invested your time, and it's really hard to let it go because of that, okay? So what can we do to figure out if that's us? I think the first thing I said was to just slow down, take a break. If you can, take a break from the thing. You know, if it's your job and you can't take a break from it, that's understandable. But again, trying to come more in alignment with like what is feeling resistant. And so something that I've learned to do that's really helped me is just get more in tune with my body and like my physical sensations, right? So our body responds to our emotions, to how we feel about things, right? We can call this our intuition, when you have kind of like a tingle of something nudging you forward, or, you know, maybe a pit in your stomach, like that is signaling danger. So our body is always signaling to us. And I think since getting more in tune with my body, it's really allowed me to understand the things that I'm not good at. And so that's something I'm still practicing, but I'm learning to recognize, why am I'm feeling resistance in this moment. Why? What just happened that's causing me to feel this? And then being able to respond appropriately. And it makes me think of like some people are really slow at like unexpected conversations. Like if you pass a stranger and they say something to you and you say something back that makes no sense and you're like, oh, why did I say that? It's kind of like that. It's like recognizing what's happening within you in the moment. And it can be hard. It's something that's hard for me. So I just want to throw that out there as well, that like I'm still learning how to do this better. But since starting this practice, like I'm way more in integrity with myself and I feel way more aligned and confident in my responses to things. And like, that's been really positive. Okay. I truly think that deep down, like we know if something is for us or not, like if it's right or not. And let's do a quick exercise to see. Let's see if I can bring something out of you. If you're like, I don't really know, or maybe I'm feeling resistance, but what do I do? Okay. So think about something that you're not sure of, something that you've maybe invested time into, something that you are having trouble letting go of. And you're not sure if you should, or you're thinking like, yeah, like this relationship is not working. But I've invested so much. Like you're giving yourself those excuses, right? And again, it could be your job. It could be, a habit. It could be anything. So I want you to close your eyes for a moment and think about that thing. Think about the thing that you're unsure of. So I want you to imagine that this thing, this situation that you're not sure of right now, I want you to imagine that it stays the same forever, that it doesn't change, that it stays exactly how it is now forever. And just how did that statement make you feel? And what sensations in your body are you feeling? Okay? And remember those. Maybe write them down. But if, when you think of something staying forever, if it kind of left you with this disappointment or this maybe frustration or even like a pit in your stomach or any sort of resistance feeling in your body, I think these signs that our body signals to us can be different for different people. And now I want you to think about something that you absolutely love. What is something in your life that brings you joy? It could be a hobby. It could be a person. It could be your job. It could be a friendship. Now, let's close our eyes again. And I want you to just imagine this thing that brings you so much joy and just think about it. Think about being able to do this thing or have this thing forever. And now how do you feel? And like literally in your body, how do you feel? And does it feel different than the thing that you're unsure of or you think you might need to let go of? I think when we can start to tune into our body a little bit more, we can recognize that something is or isn't for us. And this is something that I did with the podcast. I was like, okay, I've taken this break. I kept getting these little signs. I'm going to say signs from the universe that I should get back to the podcast. And there was a few that all happened kind of at once. And I had already been thinking about it. I was already thinking like, I miss podcasting. I miss creating. I miss speaking from the heart and connecting with people who enjoy what I have to say. It's just something that truly brings me joy. So I started to have that feeling of like, okay, I think I need to go back to this thing. But I started to feel it. And then I had these little signs kind of come in from different places. And I was like, okay. And then it was like, I have to make the decision of, well, how am I going to do it differently this time so that I don't run into the same challenges that I had last time, or the same problem? Do I want this thing, or do I just need to do it differently? And is that something I can control? I think this is the last thing we'll end on, is you can only control yourself, right? You can't control other people's decisions. You can't control someone's potential and if they live up to their potential, right? I think so many reasons that people stay in relationships too long is that they feel like they're really attracted to the potential of someone. But it's like, no. You need to love the person who's right in front of you right now, not who they could be, with enough of your attention and guidance and what, like, you can't force someone to change, right? So I think coming back to what are the things that I can control about this situation, and if the things that are out of my control I can't accept, then that is a sign that it's maybe not for you. I hope that gives you permission to change your mind and to just start thinking about getting in more alignment with yourself. I really think that letting go of the things that are not for us brings true space for the things that do bring us joy. We don't need to do everything. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to be constantly hustling. But it's about finding the things that truly bring you joy and make you feel the most integral you that you can be. So I'm going to end this here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I will have another episode talking more about how to reconnect with yourself if you've been feeling out of alignment. And I can't wait to chat with you about that very soon. Bye.